So let's dive into this. I titled this Faith or Fear and What Real Leadership Looks Like, because I got to get a unique perspective on everything that was going on because I was actually out in the public. So I'm going to share a little bit of my journey and that story and what unfolded for me this weekend. I was in Florida. So I was on the East Coast and I live on the West Coast. I'm in California, for those of you guys who don't know that. And I was at an event with over 1,000 people in Florida from Wednesday until yesterday while all of this was going on, basically watching it from my phone. And so I'm going to talk to you about how I responded, how the event venue responded, and just how I arrived at where I am today. And I have something super cool that I want to share that I want to do as I get into service and contribution for what's going on. And so let me just talk about, the event. So I flew to Florida Wednesday night, and really the largest cry for the call to be self-quarantine started Thursday, which was the first day of the event. So the first day of an event, if you've ever been to a 3-day event, that's, with a large group of people, or 3 or 4 day event, you're pretty much locked in the room and focused on that, except for between breaks, right? You're doing the content, you're engaging with people. So you don't really know what's going on in the outside world, except for what's there until you check messages or Facebook. So Shameca goes on first break and I check Facebook and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So there's a message from my daughter and my daughter's like, hey, do you need anything? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm here and everything looks fine. We knew the virus was, out and around and there was some talk about it. So what's beautiful is this. The people at the venue and the event producers did an amazing job from the jump setting expectations. And I'm going to talk about what that means as far as leadership is concerned in just a second. But for 5 days, y'all, I didn't touch nobody. So when I got home, I was like hugging my family real hard because I didn't have any human interaction. So they asked us to not touch each other. There was no handshaking, no hugging. We did the Wakanda as our greeting to each other. It was kind of fun to do that. They did a great job. And I'll really, really great job of making sure everyone was as protected as possible by making sure that there were stations for people to, get hand sanitizer, the ones you don't have to touch. So the Purell stations were at every door, every entrance, every, I would say, hour to 90 minutes or so, or at least between every break, the staff from the hotel would come and sanitize the doors inside and out. Along with the agreements that we had with each other for no hugging, no touching, no handshaking, that kind of thing. The event producers made sure that the microphone that we were using to pass for questions, one person was responsible for that microphone. He wore gloves, and for each person, the microphone was sanitized after each person asked their question. So it slowed the process down a wee bit, but those were the precautions that were taken to make sure everyone was safe. The entire hotel venue, every staff member was gloved up. They were the ones doing the service. Even though we had a buffet style dinner, they made sure that, they were the ones serving the food and we didn't touch the utensils. So the reason why I want to talk about what leadership looks like is because we all have our own experiences of this thing. So again, I'm at this event and all I see is chaos and panic, pictures of shelves. I'm in a group text with my family, not my kids, my sisters and my brothers and their wives. And they're posting all these pictures of empty shelves. And I'm like, okay, this is insane. What is going on? So I pull out at the next break and I'm texting my immediate family who's at home. And I'm like, okay, guys, what's the situation? How are you doing? Because I have no clue what's really going on. Because again, I'm in a hotel. And so I realize that this thing is it's spreading and more people are getting excited and people are panicking, thinking they need to go buy lots of food and all kinds of things. And maybe you did. But one of the things that I begin to see is leadership start to emerge. And what I mean by leadership emerging, when you start to use your voice, you have now crowned yourself a leader. When you get on social media and you post a topic and people respond or watch, you're in a leadership role, whether you see yourself as a leader or not. If you go live and you begin to talk about a topic, you have now put yourself in a leadership role. And so I see these pop-ups of leadership emerging, and I also see, finger pointing and wagging and, judgment as to what that leadership should look like. If you don't stay home, you're a horrible person. If you don't cancel your events, you're a horrible person. If you are, counseling things, you're just living in fear. And it's just going back and forth. And it's the same old thing we always see with Facebook, right? There's always the one side and then there's the other, and every side thinks that they're right. And here's the truth. Here's the truth that I believe about leadership, especially your leadership. The truth about leadership is this: that you get to decide what leadership looks like for you, right? You don't have to echo or be an echo of someone else's leadership. I had a couple of clients reach out to me while I was gone who have events coming up, and they're like, what should I do? And then one of the things, and I love that they were asking, what should I do? Because I'm their coach. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. What should you do? Right? Again, leadership is choice. But one of the things that came up is this feeling of, I feel so ashamed that I'm not looking at canceling my event or whatever because people are wagging their fingers and saying, this is what everybody should be doing. You get to decide what leadership looks like for you, right? There's no condemnation or judgment towards anyone. It's like, how can you look at someone and just say, my way is the only way that's right, whether they want to stay home or they don't stay home? There are people looking at the people who are staying home saying you're just living in fear. That's just as wrong as the people who are saying that if you don't stay home, you're a selfish person, right? I think we all get to decide based on our own values. And yeah, there is a larger context, a larger conversation, and there's widespread repercussions for actions, but that's always the case. It's not just with COVID-19. And here's what I believe, and I know. What I believe is that the fear, the chaos, the uncertainty, all of whatever emotions you felt when this whole thing hit, those emotions were lurking under the surface all along, and COVID-19 just magnified it for you. So here's what we have. We have an opportunity, each and every one of us, an opportunity. It exposed our weaknesses. It exposed the weaknesses in our leadership of ourselves. It exposed our weaknesses in our leadership of our businesses, for those of us who own businesses, for our family, our finances, all of those things. It exposed where you have weaknesses. And right now, you get to decide how you respond to that exposure. How do you respond to it? You get to decide. So start to ask questions. I saw a post the other day, clapping hands for all of the big companies who decided to close their doors and that they're leading by example, again, with this undertone of, if you're not doing that, then you're doing the wrong thing. And again, I want to tell you, I don't care either way that you're going, leadership is your choice. And that's what I'm here to explain to you. Ask questions, ask your clients, check in with your venue. Should you cancel your event? Are they flexible with the contract? Listen, I come from a place where my business was struggling for a long time, and putting an event on and putting the money into that and having to cancel it with like no way to change would be detrimental, right, to my business. So I would have to decide. I guarantee you, Disney and the NBA, all of those companies did a risk-based assessment. They didn't just close their doors because they were panicking or because they're like, oh, we just want to look good or we want to be a part of it. They had to look at the risk assessment, and the risk assessment most likely said, listen, we stand to lose more by keeping our doors open than we do by closing them. Yeah, Disneyland is going to lose $40 million a day by being closed. But there's two things you need to look at with that. They likely have business interruption insurance or something like that, right? Some insurance that's going to cover them. They also likely have looked at, okay, if we were to get lawsuits or the widespread, because there's so many people at Disneyland, right? There's hundreds of people. I don't even know if they have hundreds of tens of thousands for sure at Disneyland here in California. There's Disneyland parks all across the world, Japan, Paris, and then in Florida, right? So they have all of these parks that could be open where the potential for contagion is super high. And how do they control that? They really can't. They can't do what the hotel did for us with our venue necessarily with excellence, right? And so it's a risk assessment. So just my encouragement to those of you who are business owners who are trying to decide what you should be doing in this moment is to do a risk-based assessment. Don't just follow the crowd, or don't succumb to the feeling that you should be doing things XYZ way because everybody else is doing it. And it likely will end up that you may decide to cancel something, pull back from something, not go to something, all of those things, but decide for yourself, because leadership is your decision. Remember, we have leadership in all kinds of areas: finances, family, business, self, right? And right now, I see a lot of people defaulting their leadership to other people. It was crazy to watch all the Facebook prophets pop up. I'm like, okay, so during the presidential election campaign, the same person was an expert in politics. During the J-Lo Shakira fiasco, I won't call it a fiasco, they did a great job. But that whole debacle where everybody's going back and forth, they were the experts on culture and why people, why we shouldn't let our children watch the Super Bowl, or, the other side of that conversation was an expert on, why we should allow J-Lo and Shakira to do what they do because it's their culture, right? Everybody becomes a prophet when something comes up. And now we have this thing coming and everybody's turning on their cameras and telling you what to do. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm telling you to lead yourself, right? Trust you, trust your knower, right? Because leadership is your decision. Okay. And be okay with it. What you decide is what you decide. Listen, until this morning, I was possibly going to go to another event this weekend, a much smaller event than the one that I was at. But let me tell you why. I was doing a risk-based assessment, right? I haven't been exposed to anyone who has COVID-19. I work from home most of the time, so I'm here by myself. I don't really go anywhere. I hadn't been to church in the last couple of weeks. So I hadn't really been anywhere where I had the opportunity to be engaged with anyone. And I'm a germaphobe anyway. So I always Lysol, wash my hands, sanitize. I do all of that stuff anyway. So as far as me being a risk to other people, I knew that was low. And then I know how to take care of myself and not be a risk for myself because I already do those things. And so the investment that I made to go to this event is almost $3,000, and the person wasn't canceling it. Granted, I was looking at my email every day, like, are they canceling it? Actually, I saw them at the event that I was at. They were there. And I said, are you canceling? And she was like, no, we don't have any, we haven't made a decision to cancel at this time. She did end up canceling because they upped the limit for events. Like if they're over 50, we suggest that you close them or close your events or whatever. And so this morning I got the message and I was like, thank God, because it was a lot of work, extra precaution because of COVID-19 to fly. Mostly it was the flying that was a big thing for me. I had an experience with a gentleman that sat next to me in the plane on the way home, and I almost started weeping because I did realize that there is repercussion, right? So I'm sure this man was over 80 years old, and he was sitting next to me, and I wiped down all of my, things and everything around me, the wall. That I do that anyway when I get on the plane. I've been doing it before the whole COVID-19 thing, and so I threw away my wipes and began to sanitize my hands with hand sanitizer. And I looked over to him and he was kind of looking at how he was going to use his console in front of him, because on Delta, they have video consoles, in front of everyone. And so I noticed on his console, there were fingerprints and you could tell the person was eating and sucking their fingers and there was stuff everywhere. And I said, are you going to use that? And he said, he looked at me and he was like, wait, do you want to use it? I'm like, no, I'm not asking you because I want to use it. I want to know if you're going to use it because I want to wipe it down for you. And he said, oh, thank you. Because my wife is in the front of the plane because they were coming back. They were coming back from a trip and they had to get separate. They were coming back earlier and they had to get separate flights. My wife's in the front of the plane and she has all of those things. And they hadn't even thought about protecting themselves in that way. Even though Delta has this whole thing that they're disinfecting the plane, I still saw those fingerprints. So I handed him my thing of wipes and he pulled one out and then began to wipe his surfaces down and everything. And it just really hit me how important this is for us to all be considerate of each other, no matter what. And I'm glad I was the one that was sitting next to him. So Here's the deal. Whatever you're deciding in this moment, decide and be okay with your decision, right? No one gets to tell you what it should look like. Do your own risk assessment and also be smart, right? Be a stand for society, be a stand for safety, be a stand for the collective at the same time. No judgment, no shame, no guilt. Because running a business is about making business decisions. So, what I want to do right now is I want to give you 3 things that I've come up with that are super important right now. Actually, what I'm calling them is 3 tips for you sustaining your business and building your business in uncertain times. And that's what we're in right now. There's an uncertainty in the air. We don't really know what to do, how we should move. I mean, I'm seeing people wearing medical masks, all kinds of things. So we don't know what information is real, what's not real, and then what to do in our business. I actually saw someone ask, should I be selling right now? Is it insensitive to sell? You're running a business. There are still businesses that are open. I'm going to talk about that in just a bit. But I want to give you these 3 tips for doing this while keeping your sanity, right? While keeping your sanity. The first one is this. Cash is king. And I had some humbling moments this weekend. And I'm a little emotional thinking about it right now because for most of my life, if any situation like this ever came about, even in the crash in the early 2000s, or well, it's kind of early, all of those things, I was one of the people who didn't have enough money to do all the extra stuff. I remember when we moved my kids to a different school district, and instead of them having President's Day where they were off a couple of Mondays during February, these people decided the kids needed President's Week. And they got a whole week out from school. And while my kids were excited, I didn't know how I was going to feed them. Because when they were in school and we had low cash flow or we were struggling, when they were in school, I was only responsible for one meal. But out of school, I was responsible for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all of their boredom snacks because they're going to be bored as heck, throughout the day, or any activities that they wanted to do. And that was an expense we couldn't afford most of the time. And over the years, we adjusted to it, but it's a big deal. And so there's people out there right now who don't have the cash flow, right? I'm lucky. One, I work from home. So this isn't a quarantine for me. I'm like, quarantine what? I'm at home anyway. This is what I do, right? I'm quarantined every day until I go to CrossFit or pick up my kid from school. So I'm lucky in that sense, in 2 senses. I work from home and I have a successful business that affords me to have cash on hand, that affords me to have money in the bank, right? And that wasn't always the case for me. So trust, I get it. Okay. I understand that everyone is not as that fortunate. And like I said earlier, this is an opportunity. It exposes our weaknesses. So if you're a business owner like me, even if you do work from home or if you don't, or even if you're an employee, right? Let's talk about this. This is an opportunity for you to look at, like, where are my weaknesses and where can I begin to be self-sufficient where it comes to cash, come up with 3 months expenses, as a savings or a cushion and be diligent about that. It's an opportunity to see how you can access as much cash as you possibly can so that you can ride out as much of a bumpy ride that it will be as possible. And if you don't have any extra, don't panic. Okay? Don't panic. Just breathe. Just breathe. Your number one priority should be to create cash. So yes, love, sell your ass off right now. Not in panic mode, not because of lack, but because when something like this comes around again, this is not the situation you want to be in. Because you get to be of service right now for other people, right? People are looking for things to do. I don't know what you offer, but sell, right? Sell. Selling doesn't stop for businesses. Again, I want to go back to that emergency fund. There's a couple of things that I've done in my life, and it started small, right? I have something in my bank account called a warrior line. And my warrior line used to be teeny tiny in the very beginning. And then I would raise it as my income increased. And I just started looking at money differently, knowing that cash is king. So my warrior line is the dollar amount I will never let my bank account go down under, because I used to be in the negative all the time. The way that I create a warrior line is I decide that when my bank account hits that number, so let's say it's $1,000. For me, that $1,000 is zero. So if I have $1,050 in the bank, I only have $50 in the bank. It was a game that I played with myself. Now my warrior line is much higher than that, but it's a place where I started. So 1,000, 500, 100, 300, start wherever you are and develop that cushion, because it might seem astronomical for you to come up with 3 months worth of expenses. I don't know what your expenses are. I don't know what lifestyle you live. Make it doable for yourself and make it a game that you play. Can we do this? Because you can. I bet you can. You can do something, right? So create a warrior line and just begin saving cash so that you have cash on hand. And here's the cool thing. I'm actually going to be doing something. I'm going to give you access to something that can help you create this cash, especially if you're a business owner. So hang tight with me. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But in the meantime, here's some other things that you can do to release yourself from the burden of wondering, okay, my event got canceled. How am I going to make money? Right? I don't have my upsells that are coming. People aren't buying as much right now because they're holding on to money, whatever you may be thinking. So there's things that you can do. You can renegotiate payment terms with your suppliers and vendors and even your creditors. Okay. Don't be afraid to make those calls before the crap hits the fan. When I had lost everything in the last economic downturn, I didn't move fast enough. I knew we weren't able to make money because I was in real estate. I was a real estate mortgage broker. I knew we weren't able to make money, but I was so busy trying to figure out how to maneuver. I wasn't dealing with the financial nut that we had to crack that was over $12,000 a month. And before I knew it, we had went through all of the savings, everything that we had, and we began to have to let employees go and all kinds of things until there was just nothing left and nothing I could do. You can start calling people right now. You have to look at your finances. You have to look at it and go, okay, where am I? Where's the money? What is my recurring revenue that I have coming in if I do have any? And what are the bills that I have to pay? And then call people, negotiate, defer payments, do whatever you need to do so that you can be safe and you can have cash. Okay. Right now, people are willing to negotiate. They understand that things are going on, right? They'll be happy to negotiate with you. So when you're in a tough spot, you want to tighten up in smart ways. So you can do that right now. The other thing you can do is if you have expenses that are coming in the future, handle them now. Right now, because everybody's in crisis mode, there's things that you can buy that are cheaper than they would normally be, right? I have a trip coming up to Cabo for one of my masterminds in June. And I just looked and I can fly first class for under $600. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, because it's usually close to $2,000. And so, that's just one little thing. So keep your head about you. Actually, that's the first quote that came to mind when all of this was going on, was Rudyard Kipling's If you can keep your head about you when all around you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. That line has been a guiding principle in my life. And so if you can keep your head about you and then just start to maneuver and look at how can I get access to more cash? How can I create more cash right now? That's what you want to be doing, because cash is king. I say this about sales in general, right? You got to put your own oxygen mask on first. If you are a business, again, it's business decisions. If you're a business who has an overflow of money and you have something that you can lower the price point on, and it's not going to cost you anything in delivery, and it's not going to cause you to be in a financial bind, then by all means do it. Right? But it's a business decision first and foremost, more than it is an economic decision, as far as whether or not somebody can afford your services that they need. So it's just something to consider. Is that going to make your lights go off at some point in time because you decided to do that? Most of us with big hearts, I had a big heart for a long time and a really low bank account. And I had to shift things. I had to put my own oxygen mask on first. And now I can do all the giving I want to give. And in fact, I am going to give you guys an opportunity to do something with me in just a little bit. So, Elle, the thing that I would say more than anything is, are you doing it in a manner where you can still deliver the service and it doesn't put you in a negative? Because sometimes we do things because we want to be heartfelt, but then we don't realize that, oh my gosh, I just put myself in a bind where I made zero money, right? Or I'm in the negative on the delivery of this service. It's costing me money to deliver it. So you want to be smart and make business decisions. Okay. Let's see. And what's cool is the opportunity that I'm going to give you guys is going to give those of you who are not in a position where you can slash your prices, but you want to give something. You just want to do something. Because I remember being in that space. You know, I didn't have thousands of dollars to give or hundreds of dollars to give. And I wanted to give, but I'm like, what is my $5 going to matter? Is my $50 going to matter? Is my $100 going to matter? You know, to give towards something. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to be able to participate in, you know, sharing at this time. I just kicked over my water bottle. Sharing at this time and having a big heart without having to slash your prices in your programs. So, you know, you don't have to give things away because lots of people are doing it right now. That's why I said leadership is your decision. You don't have to be an echo of someone else's leadership. You can decide what leadership, even in this moment, for the economy and for the world, looks for you. Right? It's your decision. Remember, do a business risk assessment. This is where your leadership comes into play and your values, not someone else's. Okay? All right. Number 2, love. I wrote this the other day because it was resounding in my heart. Saturday, I was sitting in the second day of the event. And one, the greatest of these is love, but perfect love cast out all fear. As everyone evaluates what's really important, you want to wrap your arms around your existing clients and what you already have around you. So for those of you who don't have clients, be in gratitude for your family and the things that you do have. Protect your relationships with your clients, your vendors, with the people that you're in community with. Check in on folks, right? And for me, hoarding tissue paper is not being in love. It's not checking in. It's actually creating the problem that we're trying to avoid. If everybody would just take what they need, there will be enough. But because people are taking more than they need, it's not enough. And that's not in love. That's fear. That's fear-based lack mentality. You want to move in love. You want to make decisions in love. Right? I talk about this all the time when I'm at amusement parks or at restaurants and I see people, they see a line and they go send somebody to the table to sit. And I'm like, there's a cadence to this line. The people in the front, by the time the next group of people finish eating, they'll have their food. They sit down. By the time you get up there, the next people will be there. But lack mentality makes us go, oh my gosh, there's not enough seats and I won't have one. And then you become the cog in the wheel. You actually create the problem that you're trying to avoid by sending somebody to sit at a table that you won't be sitting at for 20 to 30 more minutes because you're in a long line, right? And so that's what we did. So check yourself when you're moving and making decisions right now. Am I making this decision out of fear? Because any decisions made out of fear and lack will not produce the fruit that you're looking for. That includes trying to sell your services at a little bit of prices because you think, or slash your prices to your services because you think people absolutely need it right now, right? That's, instead of sitting in fear or panic about what's lost or what you believe you may lose, or, you know, people not having the ability to buy your services, refocus on what you can actually still do right now. Hang on to what you do have. Give gratitude for what you do have and get resourceful about creating, right? For those of you who had to cancel events, what are other options? Can you do a virtual event? Can you move the date? Talk to the venue, right? Can you call clients that were going to come to that event and just upsell them into working with you one-on-one right now instead of waiting like, oh, I have to push the event so I can't upsell. No, I usually upsell at my events before they even sit down at the seat. I'm already selling them into my program, right? So they walk into the room already in the mastermind, already in Play Big, right? When you're moving in love, then you make sound decisions and you see options and opportunity. When what you get what you focus on, guys. So when you're focused in fear, all you're going to see is the things that cause you more fear. When you're focused on lack, all you're going to see is growing and growing lack. It's going to expand and expand. Right? There are still things out there that you have control over. A good amount of control, right? Focus on those things. What can you do? Not what can't you do or what don't you have. Do what you can with what you have, okay? And definitely, if you're a business owner and you have current clients right now, like I said, love on them and deliver great results. They'll always return back hundredfold. And that leads me to the next thing. Do what you can do and keep doing things that are of service. So number 3, serve. Serve. Serve doesn't mean become a martyr, right? Serve. How can I be of service? So this weekend I'm sitting in my chair and I'm like, I'm disengaged from the world because I'm in this event and I'm having a powerful moment. I like things are shifting for me like nobody's business around my own leadership. So I decided to stay present in the moment. And then some guilt comes up about, okay, you should be doing something because people are doing things. And I had to back up and go, that's not what my leadership looks like right now. My leadership looks like silence because I'm actually growing. And it's funny, I woke up this morning. This was not planned until about 11 a.m. this morning. I decided I knew I didn't wake up till 10. So just so you have an idea, when I woke up, man, that East Coast time change had me jacked up. All right. When I woke up, I knew instinctively what must be done, what needed to be said, what was my leadership role, what needed to come through me. And this was it. Until that moment, anything I would have done by turning on a camera to say anything to you would have been out of fear, wouldn't have been out of service or love to you. And so now I'm serving. I am serving in the way that I know how. Be helpful, be resourceful. I've seen some videos on this whole COVID-19 thing, and I'm like, what was that even for? Just people moving around in fear, like, oh, people are saying now's an opportunity for leadership, so I should turn on my camera and just ramble. No, right? Really be resourceful. Be a resource for people. Be a leader for people. Become a beacon of sanity in the midst of all this chaos, right? Become a North Star. Become a lighthouse. Become a lighthouse. You know, one of the reasons why I pulled back and waited until the inspiration came is because I didn't just want to contribute to the noise of coronavirus, and the finger wagging of you should be thinking this way or that way. And when I woke up this morning, it was clear as day how I wanted to contribute. And so here's what I want to encourage you to do. Stay in action, right? Be open to new possibilities of how you will do business, how you will engage with people, what that looks like, right? And you'll survive. You'll survive. Ask yourself, what needs to shift? What needs to shift in my outlook? What needs to shift in my approach? And how can I be of service to people while still making money, guys? Right? It's not just about the money, but sometimes we forgo money. A lot of us with big hearts that are struggling in our business. And if you're making under 6 figures, you're a struggling business. And some of you who are at 6 figures are a struggling business. Let's be honest. You have no space to really give anything to anyone except for, again, your leadership is your decision, right? I'm not going to be in judgment about that, but I want you to make business decisions, right? What do you need to shift? How do you need to approach the current situation? And it may require you to be in action a little bit more and a little more sweat equity than normal because you don't have cash flow or whatever the case may be. But don't be afraid to do the work that needs to be done. Like I said, right now, my life is totally different than it was before. I used to panic when the school let my kids out, right? I had 2 boys. Those boys could eat. And then with that President's Week thing, it was crazy. And so I get that people have kids home, people can't go to school. You know, some of you guys are working jobs and building businesses. Some of you with businesses don't know if you should be selling right now because people are making you feel shameful about doing so. Check in with yourself. What does your leadership needs to look like? Somebody needs to see that people out there who work from home or who have online kind of based businesses do make money even in times of crisis so that it can inspire them. That could be you. That could be your leadership, right? Somebody may need what you have to offer so that they can show up in a bigger way. That could be your leadership. So by all means, sell. Okay? Sell. So I'm going to go back through those 3 things just real quick. Cash is king. How can you create cash? How can you access more cash right now? Move in love, not fear. Be in deep gratitude and focus on what you currently have and the opportunities to create more. And serve people, right? Be a beacon of sanity in chaos. Be resourceful, be a resource, be helpful. And so I told you guys that I had a gift and an opportunity that I want to give to you. So I'm going to put this up really quickly and I'm going to tell you how you can get access to it. So this is my leadership. I wanted to give this training and I'm trying to look at where it is. Here it is. I wanted to give this training and I also wanted to give you an opportunity to get something from me. So there's 3 reasons why I'm doing this. The first reason is this. It used to be me that didn't have cash when crisis came up, and I'm not in that space anymore. And so the sales sprint method is a training that I did in 2018, but it's one of my most proprietary methods. People buy sales school just to get access to this method for creating cash fast in your business. And so I don't sell this. We did it once, we sold it once, and it's been a part of sales school ever since. And I pulled it out because I want to do something with it today so that I can exercise my own leadership. And again, in crisis times like this, I didn't know how to create cash. I would just panic and not sell. I would follow the people that told me that, during Christmas time, people don't buy. During, summertime, people are focused on their kids, so they don't buy. And I would listen to what everybody else was saying, and I wouldn't sell. And so I want to I'm going to teach you how to fish. And sales school, or not sales school, the sales sprint method course that I've put together or that I have is going to be an opportunity for you to be able to do that. Also, if you guys have questions, put them in. I'll go back and answer them. I'm willing to stay as long as you guys want or need, because I'm willing to be a beacon of sanity in this time. The second reason why I'm doing this is it's powerful to be able to give in community. So Elle, I'm glad you asked the question that you asked. Some of you guys may be wanting to do something for people and you think the only thing that you can do is offer a course for cheap or sell your services for half the price or a fraction of the price or on a scholarship basis or whatever. And I want to give you an opportunity to be able to do something. I'm going to give you the third reason, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to offer this thing. I'm offering this thing on a donation basis. Whatever you want to give, you can have access to it. What I'm going to do with the money is I'm going to donate 100% of the proceeds to an organization locally who is supporting people who have lost their jobs and who won't be getting paid over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And they don't have the financial resources. They don't have the warrior line that I just talked about. And it's going to be supporting them with food vouchers, utility assistance, and some other things. So I want to do my part. I'm also going to match whatever we raise. So whatever you guys raise, I'm going to match it and we're going to donate it. I was talking about being at that event and being able to give. There was an opportunity to give to an organization that was from Colombia. And I can't tell you the whole story, but I almost cried when I got back to my seat because I remember that there were times where I wanted to give to stuff like that. I didn't have the means. And that day, I was walking back to my seat, having given it a donation that I could be proud of because I could, right? And so the reason number 2 why I'm doing this is because I want to give you an opportunity to give whatever you can, right? Give whatever you can. The third reason why, I wasn't going to be all weepy, but here I am. Anyway, the third reason why I'm doing this is I want to give a leg up to business owners right now because cash is king. I want you to have the power to create money whenever you choose or whenever you desire, on demand, on command. Life is different when you know that you can trust yourself to create money anytime you choose. And so what's inside of the sales sprint method? All right, so we're going to do this a little bit differently because it is going to be on a donation basis. So if you just go to my PayPal, paypal.me/Shameca Tankerson, you probably need to write it exactly how it is. I'm not sure. And because we're doing it in a weird way, what you're going to do is do the PayPal donation and then send me a Facebook message like, hey, I bought the sales sprint course. And then I'll add you. It's going to be delivered via Facebook group. All of the content is already there. It's been there for years. It's there. Paula just cleaned it up for me today because I woke up this morning and wanted to do this. So we'll add you to the group so that you can begin to go through the material. Here's what you're going to get inside of it. So again, whatever you want to donate. When I sold this course the last time, I sold it for $1,000. Every seat was $997. And today, it's not really a pay what you can kind of thing, because this isn't like a, hey, if you can't afford to invest in your business, I want you to do this. This is a let's band together and contribute to society. Let's lead in the way that we can. So donate what you want to. And then this is my gift to you for doing that. So you get some benefit from doing that. And guys, share this with people. Let people know it's an opportunity that's available. This is what we're doing for right now. So here's what's inside of it. Again, I'm going to show you how to make money anytime you want to, but you're going to get my templates for crafting six different types of posts that create engagement and generate leads for you and sales. And so if you follow me on Facebook, social media, you know this is one of the main ways I create business. It's probably the primary way that I make money. I run a $500,000 a year business. I speak, which speaking last year was like the most I spoke ever. And then Facebook, like this is it. Me, Facebook Messenger, and the post that you guys see is what created my $500,000 a year business and my sales skills, which I'm going to give you access to all of those things. So I'm going to show you how to craft those posts and create this strategy for yourself. I'm going to teach you how to build excitement and engagement and sell like a beast. Right? You're going to get access to my I Serve selling method. I'm going to give you access to the sales skills labs that we did. So you can watch those recordings, understand each process of the sales process, and then practice for yourself. As a bonus, the other bonus that I'm going to give you, this is super dope. And I'm super proud of this because this is how God works, how serendipitous this is to me. I am doing next month in sales school. This was already on the books. I'm teaching the other component to the sales sprint method in sales school next month. And if you don't know about sales school, it's my year-long lead generation and sales course / community that is $2,000 a year to be a part of. And it's funny that next month, it's April, I'll tell you what the date is that the class is going to be on. It's April 2nd. That is the day that we're teaching the second part of sales school method. So what I decided to do as a bonus, anybody who donates is going to get a seat. You're going to get a sneak peek and a seat inside of sales school to learn how to actually implement the sales sprint method live, which means you're going to get access to be able to ask me questions as well. So not just the course, but you're going to get that live seat. And then you're also going to get the bonus skills lab. So whatever you donate, again, remember, a rising tide lifts all ships. We're doing this together. Last time I sold this course, I sold it $4,000, but pay whatever you want, donate whatever you want, message me, let me know that you contributed, and then I will add you to the course and you get all of those things today. Okay. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what I can do, because I have my own oxygen mask on first. That's it, guys. That's all I wanted to share. So paypal.me, Shameca Tankerson. Again, I want to raise as much money as possible to donate because I want to support people that's where I used to be. I always try to think of like, where do I want my business to invest the most money? And when I think about how disenfranchised I was first as a single mom who became a mom at 16, I was a teen mom. So I struggled for most of my life. And now my life is like completely different. And so this is an opportunity where I get to do a give back and I get to bring you along on this journey with me. Let's do this. I'm going to match whatever you guys donate. So I'm excited to be able to do this. And, I'm praying for everybody, your sanity, your safety, and your leadership. It's time to rise. This is your opportunity to lead. All right. So that's that. And here's the deal. Even if you don't want the course or whatever, it's an opportunity to donate, right? You think about it in that way. When I donated this weekend, it was like a $250 investment, minimum investment got you a book. So I'm going to tell you a couple of things about the book. So don't be like, well, I don't need that, or I'm already in sales school, or whatever. It's about your leadership and the investment, the donation, right? So I bought this book. The guy was from Colombia. So I bought the book. I gave the $250 investment. I was so proud. I should have my book here with me. So proud to get my book that this kid wrote. And it was an amazing story. And the whole book is in Spanish, which I already knew it was going to be, but I can't even read the book. So it's not about whether or not you can read it or use it. Remember, there's 3 reasons why I'm doing this. One is my leadership. This is what I can do. It's what I can contribute. And that used to be me, right? The second thing is we can do this together in community. And then the third thing is, for business owners who are struggling right now, I want to teach you how to make money so you do get something out of it if you can use it. So if one of those three reasons resonates with you, let's do something. Let's make a difference in the lives of people we can actually see too. That's fun too. Like it's great to donate to someplace in Colombia, which is why they always send you pictures of, you know, the kids you sponsor in other countries. But there's people right here all around us, especially here in my area, who need support during this time because they don't have a cash cushion. They don't have a warrior line. All right, loves, that's it. I'm out for the day. I'll probably come live a couple of more times with any insights or wisdom that comes up for me during the course of the week, and do a few posts just reminding you. Just want to encourage you to share this with anybody who you think would find value in it. And I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. For those of you who are going to be donating and being part of the course and going to be joining us in sales school next month, it's an honor to serve alongside people, leaders like you. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment. Like right now. I'm not gonna stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment.